7 o'clock, so we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. Board of Selectmen meeting. First up is a discussion of a 100-foot public safety tower at the transfer station. Chief Nelson.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm here tonight to discuss a public safety tower at the transfer station, and this is because of a very long, drawn-out process to upgrade our police and fire repeaters. So in the first plan, we were trying to get onto cell towers, but that's virtually impossible to get space and get it at a height that we need. So a new radio vendor has provided a new quote that'll get us all brand new equipment at the West Berlin tower site, and also a brand new tower at the transfer station with all brand new repeaters, antennas, everything is included in this quote. And pretty much it's grant funding through Neshoba that we've been trying to get rolling. And so there's literally nothing we're going to spend except for a shelter and some, what is it, AC and heating and power.
And the connectivity, right?
That was because the shack at the transfer station was just too small to put all the equipment in. So now I've got to move it down the road. So we actually, Joe and I, the Boy Scout can shack. There's a good size hill that goes up maybe 10, 15 more feet. And it's pretty much kind of out of sight and out of mind as people drive up the road to the transfer station.
So the backstory to this is probably about, I'll say 3 years ago, we had a meeting article on the warrant for $287,000 to replace the tower up on Berlin Road. And in working with the Neshoba Regional Dispatch, I was able to help push a grant through. So we never had to spend that money. We're actually able to reappropriate it for other things the following year. So that was the genesis of the grant. And as the chief said, there's been a lot of work done with consultants between then and now to get to where we are. This is a microwave tower. We've got really good line of sight issues there. You know, we have some dead spots in town that the officers have to deal with, and this will go a long way. As the chief said, the grant would pay for everything except the unplanned piece, which is not being able to use the shack that's there. And the chief gave me a list and pretty good cost estimates as to what it would take to that we would have to appropriate. It would consist of it as a shipping container or outdoor enclosure from the radio company, an HVAC system, National Grid coming out to do the connection to run the power supply there, the installation of everything, and then some fencing. And the estimate that we have, some estimates and one quote, adds up to $26,569.50. And if we, and this will be a separate discussion, but if we could do an advisory reserve transfer for $25,000 this year, the reserve fund is in good shape. We could then go off and contract for this work, because we can't start the tower project until we know that we can fund all the other things. And procurement law says that we can't enter into a contract with a vendor until we know that we have an appropriation to pay for the work. So if the selectmen approve the siting of the tower tonight, then the next step in the process is I'll need to work with advisory and work through the process of doing a reserve transfer.
No, I mean, it sounds fine to me. The fact that virtually all of it's gonna be funded by a grant it works for me. And, Don, you and I have talked about, you know, the ability to fund this. So I'm comfortable with moving forward with it.
I'm fine. Sounds like a good plan.
Don, you said it would go a long way towards connecting the town and filling in the dead spots. And so I'm just wondering, you know, where after this we might have dead spots
Well, just,
for gap in coverage.
this is not, this is covered specifically for the officers to communicate with one another. Video coverage. Chief, do you want to talk about where we might still have a little issues there? Because I'm not sure how much we talk about publicly as far as where the dead spots are.
Sure, yes. Okay. With the amount of money that was in the grant, the 271,000, this is just one piece of the puzzle to fix a portion of it. It'd probably be $1 million easy to put up all the antennas that we would have to do in town to improve the radio system to where we need it to be. They compartmentalized this whole quote so that this piece will kind of solve a lot of the northeast side of town and help that reception. And that's going to go all the way up to 495 and the Harvard Boxborough area. And yes, we will still have some of the dead spots because we hope to improve the repeaters on the Berlin side and possibly on the Hudson side so that we can have that connectivity on that side.
We have worse.
Everybody's got the same problem. The geography of the town, the landscape, there's too many hills, the trees. If it was easy, we would have had this solved a long time ago.
Yeah.
But our problem's no worse than surrounding towns. So they've got dead spots also.
Everybody has the same problem, yes. So
Yeah, that's right.
we're no better or no worse.
All right.
Other towns do have extra repeater sites, so they vote, and whichever one has the strongest signal will pick it up and then send it to the other tower and back to the Devon so they can hear us. But
So
that's part of what we're trying to
be
solve.
shared. This will be
Is-
shared by other towns then.
In due time, it will, because the overall plan that they have at Devon's is to put the police and the fire of all the towns on single channels. So in the long-term plan, they want to put us, Berlin, Harvard, and Lancaster all on the same police channel. So if they're going to do that, they've got to spend a lot of money to improve everybody's radios. And as they did this plan, they had that in mind when they were doing it, so that everything can be added on. Everything we're doing today will be able to upgrade to the new system.
Was this the first choice for a site, or is this the second or third choice for a site?
Well, see, this is where we're very limited on sites because it has to be town property. So we really don't have a large pool of town property to choose from. This was the best site because it gave the northeast corner of the town better reception.
Northeast or northwest?
Northeast. Yeah, all the way up to 495 from there.
All right. I'm surprised 495 isn't better covered off the top of Wattaquatic.
Oh, that's anything at the Harvard line is horrible reception up there.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Jenny's got a map, so it's tough to see, but as you go up the road in her cursor, so just right, come down just a little bit. There's another dot on the right, just right there is where we're looking to put the tower. So
Yeah.
Joe had no problem with the location. To the left of the road is the capped landfill. And we've already checked with DEP that right side of the road we'll have no issues or no restrictions to put anything we want up there.
Okay,
And then that's a freestanding tower with a microwave antenna on it. So that's what it would look like.
And
Okay.
and in case you have any question about the relative height, that being a 100-foot tower, the cell tower that's up there is 147 feet. So the cell tower that's up there on the landfill is much taller than what this was.
So
No,
we
fine
can't
with
put this on the cell tower?
No, actually, the cell tower is not town property from which,
Right.
so that's
Right.
on Davis property.
So anyway, so no, this is its own freestanding tower. Just giving a relative picture of the height, but anyway, yeah, we can move. And this is about a 5 to 6 month project, as it's been explained to me. So the quicker we can get started, if we can get started fairly quickly, we can have the project done presumably before the snow falls at the end of the year.
okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the location of the public safety tower at the transfer station.
Second,
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call. Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
aye.
Waisaki.
Aye. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
All right, next up is a request by the American Cancer Society to reschedule the 2020 Bicycles Battling Cancer Charity Ride to Saturday, August 22nd, 2020. So I'm assuming we've already approved this previously? Don?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're just moving it to later in the year, so.
Circumstances that if the board needs to rescind its approval as the date approaches, that
Sure.
he's understanding.
Chief, the chief has no problem with the date?
No.
Okay.
And I have unmuted Mr. Walter.
Everybody. Yep. The only thing we're changing is the date. The approval was given a few weeks ago. And
Right.
exactly, we realize, we may not be out of the woods on this pandemic come August, in which case we would be, understanding and more than likely make the decision ourselves, I would think, but we'll certainly be staying in contact. And if we make any changes, we'll let you know. And if the town decides, in advance of that changes need to be made, then, obviously notify me.
Okay. We probably should just take a vote to approve the change of the date. Do I have a motion to approve the date to August 22nd, 2020?
So moved. Second.
All right, second?
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call. Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye. Okay, great. All right, next up is proclamation of Appreciation Month, 2020. Mary Chomo. Jenny, you're on mute.
Sorry, give me just one moment and I will share the proclamation and then maybe you as the chair can read it, Stan.
Sure. Well, I actually have it here in front of me. Mary is not attending tonight?
She is. Let me unmute her as well.
All right, but I'll read it.
There I am. Can you hear me now?
We can hear
Hey, Mary,
you.
how are you?
Okay, I think you had to unmute me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, thank you. Good evening. So every year, Friends of Bolton Seniors invites the town to celebrate Bolton seniors during the month of May. And we're coming before the selectmen to read the proclamation. This year is going to be very different than what we've done in the past. And, unfortunately, we won't be able to do the programming that we normally do. We have to be creative in what we can do to honor our seniors. So we're going to kick it off on May 1st. Normally, second graders make May baskets to be delivered to seniors 85 and over. This year, we're going to have them make drawings, and we're going to mail them to the seniors. So we just have to do things very differently this year than we have in the past, but we still want seniors to know that we appreciate them and everything that they do. So this year's theme, and the proclamation is up on the screen, this year's theme is Making Your Mark, and it highlights seniors' unique and lasting contributions to their communities. Everything from sharing a story with grandchildren, leaving a legacy of community action. And so here's the proclamation, and I don't know, does one of the selectmen like to read it? Or?
Sure, I'll be happy to, Mary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Town of Bolton, Massachusetts, by the Board of Selectmen, Senior Appreciation Month, May 2020. A proclamation, Make Your Mark. Whereas the town of Bolton includes a growing number of older Americans who make countless contributions to our community every day. And whereas the town of Bolton is stronger when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to make their mark. And whereas the town of Bolton recognizes the importance of the physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being of its citizens. And whereas the town of Bolton can support our community members by promoting independence, inclusion, and participation, engaging older adults through education, recreation, and service, and connecting people with opportunities to share their time, experience, and talents. Now, therefore, the Board of Selectmen of Bolton, Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 2020 to be Senior Appreciation Month. We urge every resident to take time during this month as essential members of our community.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Very nice. Do I have a motion to approve, gentlemen?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Roll call.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Roll call. Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye. Okay. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next-
Have a good night.
Thank you,
Good night.
Mary. Next up on our agenda is consideration and possible vote to adopt sections 10A 1 and Section 11, Chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020. Michelle Carlisle.
Hi, everyone.
Michelle,
Hi,
Michelle.
Michelle.
So what this is about is Section 10 allows the town to extend the due date for fourth quarter taxes from May 1st to June 1st. Section 11 allows for all other taxes, which for us is just motor vehicle excise taxes. Anything issued after March 10th, 2020 to be paid by June 29th, because it specifically states before June 30th, without any penalties or interest. And I am recommending that we do that.
Okay. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I'm
No.
all for it.
All right, so do you want these done separately, Michelle, or as a group?
Yes, please. They do need to be done separately.
Okay. All right, well, the first motion is that the select board accept the local option in section 10A 1 to 3, chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020 to extend the due dates of property tax, real estate and personal property tax bills under General Laws, Chapter 59, Sections 57 and 57C from May 1st, 2020 to a date not later than June 1st, 2020.
So
Do I have a
moved.
second? Do I have a
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call. Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye. Great. And the next one is the next motion is that the select board accept the local option in section 11, chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020 to waive interest and other penalty for late payment of any motor vehicle, excise tax, or other charge added to a tax for any payments with a due date on or after March 10th, 2020, where payment is made after its respective due date, but not before June 30th, 2020.
But before June 20th.
Yes, but before June,
Yes,
before June 30th, 2020.
yes, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Cheap,
Aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye. Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank
Thank you.
Michelle.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
Michelle.
night, everyone. Be well.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Next up is the town administrator report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with the COVID-19 update. The numbers as of today that were, including the numbers that were released today by the state, there were 8,750 new tests conducted for a total of 140,773. I think that's the highest number in a single day for tests that I've seen so far. There are 2,263 new cases for a total of 32,181. 137 new deaths were reported for a total of 1,245. So things are still trending strongly. The state is going to start producing reports, has started producing reports on a weekly basis per town. And what you will see, if you looked right now and you will see at the end of the week, I think they're going to be updated once a week to the Board of Health chairs, is that any town like Bolton that has fewer than 5 cases, it will just be shown as less than 5. There won't be a specific number. So as we sit here tonight, we have 1 reported confirmed case. And there are stories out there that we may have 1 or 2 more, but we only work with official information from the state. So right now, we would find out through the Neshoba Board of Health. The state would report there, they would report it to us. So we may have a different number tomorrow, but as of right now, it's still 1. But in any case, it would be less than 5 at the end of the week. So that's the way they're reporting. As many people know, Governor Baker has joined the coalition of the 7 Northeast states that was formed to try to work together as much as possible on initiatives and timing, which I think is really positive. I know Governor Cuomo announced today that he's extending their stay-at-home period out to May 15th. The Governor Baker hasn't indicated yet that he's pushing it out, but I would not be at all surprised. So my plans will be to, at a minimum, follow what Governor Baker's doing. So if the governor's going to have the stay-at-home order through May 15th, I wouldn't look to open the town hall again before May 18th. I suspect it may creep out towards Memorial Day, but that's just speculation. So I don't really expect our town buildings to be back open May 4th, which is the date we're working towards right now, but we'll have to wait and see what the governor has to say. So that's really, at this point, all I have on COVID-19. And as far as the mass work update goes, things, as you've seen, are back in full gear, full swing. We are, when I got the last update from Joe on Tuesday, we were hoping to have all of the driveway connections done by the end of the day tomorrow, and to have all of paving pretty much, except for road paving, pretty much done until, no, including road paving, done by May 15th. And we hope to have everything pretty much ready to go, waiting for the mast arms, which is really the signals. The manufacturer is behind on that. They're supposed to have them to us and installed by June 30th. They're still saying that they'll have that done. We're a little skeptical, but short of that, everything else is going really well and has gone on plan. So that's where we are with that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions any of you have. Otherwise, that's all I have for tonight.
I noticed they were pouring concrete the past couple of days and it looks very good.
You know, I'm very pleased with the way it's turned out so far.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's really nice.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Board of Selectmen business, and we have two announcements. Earth 50th anniversary of Earth Day is April 22nd, 2020. This marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Since 1970, Earth Day has increased awareness of the planet we live on, pollution, climate change, endangered species, and many other environmental issues. As an adjunct to that, there's an effort going on for Bolton cleanup, and I'll read the announcement. Bolton's kicking off its annual cleanup starting whenever you want to get out of the house. All residents are asked to clean up winter litter along the road in front of their homes, and proper gloves and other precautions should be taken to keep yourself safe. Trash bags from the cleanup can be dropped off at the transfer station between April 15th through the 25th during regular transfer station hours. No sticker is required. If you let the attendants know that you're helping to clean up Bolton. Please continue to maintain social distance of 6 feet from attendants and other residents. Any other public service announcements, gentlemen?
No, thanks.
Okay. Next up is to vote to execute the open space deeds for the Tadmore subdivision and the 649 Main Street subdivision. Okay, so any questions on the documentation that we've received on this matter? Okay, so I guess having no questions, I'll take a motion to approve and to execute the open space deeds.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
All
Roll
right,
call.
Becca.
Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye.
And as Jenny indicated in an email, these should have a wet signature. So she sent out an email about how that could work. And if you need any follow-up information from her, she can send that out.
Okay.
So that's
Sounds good.
all three of us?
Yeah, I think it is all three, correct, Jenny? Or is it just the chair? It's all three, isn't it?
It is
I
all
think it's
three.
all-
Okay.
All right. Next up is to review approved meeting.
Yeah, so we had talked about needing, especially since the election's been pushed out to the end of June. We thought it was good. It would be good to get the meeting scheduled. So while we were at it, we just went to the meeting after Labor Day. So since we already had May 7th scheduled, we pushed that. We went 2 weeks out from there. And then the second and fourth Thursdays in June, and then the second Thursday in July, which also would be the last meeting before the close of the books, which happens by July 15th. And then our usual summer schedule. So we went out 6 weeks to August 20th, and then September 10th would be the meeting after Labor Day. So that was the approach that we took.
Yeah, I reviewed the schedule and it looks fine.
Yep, looks fine.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so I move that we accept the selectmen meeting dates as proposed by the town administrator.
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Roll call. Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye. Okay. Next up is to vote and to close the FY21 town meeting warrant.
I don't know if there were other specific issues, but Article 21 having been changed, I would like to once again move that the Board of Selectmen reconsider their vote on Article 21. That's the feasibility study.
Yes,
It's been lowered to $1.5 million, which we said we would accept.
Sounds fine.
Sounds good.
So I'll.
You need a second?
I'll take a motion to approve.
first you have to accept the motion to reconsider, and then you vote to,
All right, do I have a motion to reconsider?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye?
Aye.
Okay, do I have a motion to make a positive recommendation?
So
And
moved.
I need to do roll call on the last one. Sorry, I was not unmuted in time. Roll call to
Aye.
Keep
aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye. Okay. Do I have a motion to favorably recommend Article 21?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
aye.
Okay.
great. Thank you. Jenny will make that edit.
We gotta do roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jenny needs to unmute herself again.
Sorry, I had myself in the wrong setting. Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye.
Okay, we'll have to reestablish our cadence here. So just to note, to page 6, prior to Article 1, on the advice of council, we made minor edits to the greetings be delayed, and that the meeting has been pushed out to June 22nd. Just a fine point, but just to be 100% certain that we're comporting with the law to reference the original date and the new date.
Okay.
Article 3, the new numbers have been reviewed and approved by Nanachka, correct, Jenny? Or came from Nanachka, right?
Yes.
Okay. And everything else leading up to, I believe it's Article 21 or Article 20, bear with me. Again, minor tweaks. Yes, minor tweaks, not impacting anything, including Article 20, just a fine tuning of that. Article 21, you've already done. Article 22, it was fine. And then Article 23, a couple of pieces on Article 23. As you will note, the dollar amount has been changed from $650,000 to $550,000. The selectmen authorized Rebecca and I to enter into negotiations with Mrs. Taggart. Mrs. Taggart was extremely positive about working with the town. Agreed to our proposal of $550,000, which is why it was lowered. Aside from that, council has made changes in there so that we would have the latitude of to reference the Board of Selectmen in there of controlling at least part of the property if there was a portion that the town proposed to use for municipal use. Municipal use being potentially some form of town building in the future. We don't have any plans for that right now, but we thought now was the time, the selectmen thought now was the time to plan for that. So in order to be able to allow that, council added the appropriate language. So I believe those are the changes that have been made to the article. But I'll be happy, and Rebecca's online too, so either one of us would be happy to answer any final questions that anyone may have on that.
I have no questions.
I have no questions.
I have no questions.
All right, thank you. Moving on,
Before you move on, Don, one question or comment. We had the opportunity to revote Article 21. Does the advisory committee want to chime in on that?
Yeah, am I off mute now?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
I'm going to get the rest of the committee off too.
Yep. So for Article 21, the school district feasibility study, I would entertain, or actually I will make a motion to reconsider. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. I guess we need a roll call for that.
Hi, Leslie. Roll call. I'm on a meeting, Leslie. Sorry. Roll call. Boyle,
Yes.
Meyerson,
Yes.
Hurd,
Yes.
and Lauer.
Yes.
Okay. And then I would make a motion to vote in favor of Article 21.
Second.
Second.
Roll call. Boyle,
Yes.
Meyerson,
Yes.
Hurd,
Yes.
and Lauer.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, in that same vein, since Article 21 has been revoted, I would suggest the advisory committee be given the opportunity to reconsider Article 23 if they chose.
Who voted against 23 on advisory. So I would still vote against. I guess if anybody who's in favor wants to reconsider their vote, they could make a motion.
I'm sorry, Article 23 is specifically what?
Oh, sorry,
Property.
the Taggart property.
Okay, in terms of the purchase under the new offer price?
Yep.
Sometimes I need a secret decoder ring.
I'm assuming that anyone who is in favor of it at 650 is still in favor of it at 550, but.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenny, for putting that up. So do you want to call a roll or what?
Well, first we would need a motion to reconsider, but I don't know that we actually. I don't know that anybody's going to reconsider their vote. So.
I don't think such a motion would get supported.
Okay.
All right, sorry to derail you. So moving on in the warrant.
If you gave the folks advisory the opportunity, I sincerely doubt the other two selectmen will want to change their vote, but I'll just for the record indicate that even at 550, I oppose this recommendation, and I still oppose it. So just for the record.
Okay. And moving on to the last piece of the warrant, in Article 25, one thing that has changed from the last version to this one is that we now have the ballot question in here for the borrowing for the Taggart property. That was not in the previous version. And on the advice of counsel, we have been provided with a motion. I'm sorry, with it's actually I guess it's a proclamation, if I remember correctly, that would need to be read and voted on by the board. And I believe Jenny has provided you a copy of it, and I know she can put it up on the screen if she needs to.
Yep, give me just a minute and I can do that. The blanks will obviously get filled in before it gets signed.
So you just start with the whereases.
All right. All right, whereas the disease caused by the 2019 novel coronavirus COVID-19 is a times fatal respiratory disease spreading throughout the world. Whereas on March 10, 2020, the governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts issued a declaration of a state of emergency to respond to COVID-19. Whereas on March 13, 2020, the President of the United States issued a proclamation on declaring a national emergency concerning the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19 outbreak. And whereas on March 2020, the Board of Selectmen issued a declaration of local state of emergency with respect to COVID-19 outbreak. Do we have a date for that?
I have the 14th in my head, but I don't know that that's accurate. Hang on a sec.
Can I ask a procedural question here?
Yes.
Do we need to do this before we vote to close the warrant?
Yes, you do. And you have
Okay.
a thing to do before you vote to close the warrant.
It was March 10th.
Okay, and whereas on March 10, 2020, the Bolton Board of Selectmen issued a declaration of a local state
I'm
of
sorry,
emergency.
I misread that. I thought it was the Governor Baker. We issued the local state of emergency. So that would be March 26th.
Yes, it was
All
retro.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, then on March 26, 2020, the Bolton Board of Selectmen issued a declaration of a local state of emergency with respect to COVID-19 outbreak. And whereas the annual election, also known as the annual meeting for the election of town officers, is currently scheduled for May 11th, 2020 per the code of the town of Bolton. If you want to scroll down a little more, thank you. Whereas it is unknown at this time how long restrictions on public gatherings will be in effect, whereas Bolton residents and the town officials need time to plan for annual town election amid the disruptions to daily life, the workplace, municipal meetings imposed by the COVID-19 outbreak. Whereas Bolton residents should be able to participate in the annual town election. Bolton town officials should be able to election without risking their health or potentially contributing to the spread of COVID-19. Whereas Chapter 45 of the Acts of 2020 authorizes the Board of Selectmen to postpone the annual town election as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak to a date not later than June 30th, 2020, following consultation with local election officials and the Chief Operating Officer of the municipality as to logistics and feasibility. And whereas following consultation with the town clerk and the town administrator to logistics and feasibility, the Board of Selectmen has determined that the annual town election may be held on Monday, June 29th, 2020, at the Neshoba Regional High School Auditorium in Bolton. Now, therefore, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Bolton hereby postpones the 2020 annual town election to Monday, June 29th, 2020, at the Neshoba Regional High School Auditorium in Bolton.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye. Okay, so I'm assuming now with that done, we can vote to close the FY21 town meeting warrant?
Not yet, Mr. Chairman. One more procedural thing. With the placement of the ballot vote for the debt exclusion now on the warrant, the selectmen should make a separate vote to officially place that on the warrant, on the ballot.
So I will move to add the ballot question regarding the Taggart property to the town election on June 29th.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye.
And thank you. Now, Mr. Chairman, you can vote to close and sign the warrant, or vote to close the warrant.
All right, I'll take a motion to close the FY21 town meeting warrant.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye.
Ooh,
Okay. To approve the bills and payroll warrants for W21 and W21A.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye. Okay. All right, next up, we are going to be going into 3 separate executive sessions. We will not be coming out of any of those executive sessions into open session.
Do we have some minutes to approve?
We do.
Excuse me.
A minute?
Hello. Excuse me.
Yes.
This is Doug Story.
Hmm?
Call from wireless caller.
Doug's calling in.
This is Doug Story.
Hey, Doug.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
I just had a couple things to ask and to comment on before you went into executive session. I've been listening to you review the warrant. Did I hear that you moved it to the 29th, not the 22nd?
the election is the 29th. Town meeting is the 22nd.
Oh, town meeting is the 22nd. Okay, thank you. And I've sent a couple of emails out just alerting people that in the event that we have this meeting and we are still under distancing, we're going to be very auditorium. I did an analysis today, and by my calculations, the auditorium, which holds 609 people or something like that, would only hold about 110 people with 6-foot distancing, not including the people at the tables at the front, but 110 registered voters. And I just want to raise the issue that if we are still in that those guidelines, there's a potential that we will not be able to fit the number of people that come to the meeting if more than that number come. In other words, if we have 150 people, we won't be able to fit them. And we need to, it's my job to make sure we can hold the meeting. So we need to be looking at an alternative. And one alternative would be to hold it in the gymnasium, which we probably could hold more people, but we'd have to set up audio there. And then another alternative would be to hold it outside. And as crazy as that sounds, a lot of towns are doing that now. You know, praying for good weather and you know, setting up on the football field or whatever and holding it out there. So I just wanted to make sure that that was brought to everyone's attention, that we do have a limit to the number of people that we can fit in that auditorium while maintaining social distancing. And it's severe. It's about 1/5 the capacity that it would normally hold. And I know that we all probably agree that this won't be a huge turnout, but we don't know. And in the event that we had more people than we could hold in that auditorium, and if we did not have an alternative set up, we would have to postpone the meeting. Does that make sense, Don?
Yes, it does make sense. I've been thinking about possible alternative locations too, and it's probably since it's not on the agenda for tonight, it's probably technically it's not on the agenda. Maybe it's a conversation best taken offline, Doug, that you and I could have, and then we could do an update at the May 7th meeting with the selectmen.
Happy to do that.
And Pam will need to be involved too, obviously.
Yep, I'm happy to be involved in that. Yep.
I think I'm just suggesting at this point in time that we begin investigating an alternative that could hold additional people. I think, as I said, the first one would be to go to the gymnasium and determine how many people could fit there. And you know, but what we don't want to do is end up in a situation where we have to cancel the meeting because we can't hold the people that we have there.
No, I totally agree.
Don, can I ask a question? This is Bob Sikansky.
Yes.
Don, it's my understanding that the legislature also passed laws or whatever to allow the meeting to be held after June 30th.
Yeah, if a meeting, you certainly don't want to, if we can have it June 22nd, that's what we obviously would want to do.
Yes.
If circumstances arose where we couldn't accomplish that, then absolutely, yes. Yes, we would be able to hold a meeting after June 30th. We would be running on a 1/12 budget, 1/12 of the FY20 budget, which introduces some problems in and of itself. But yes, to answer your question, if push came to shove and we had to do that, yes, we are allowed to do that. Another thing, which is not germane to Doug's point, but just to put it out there, if we ever had the concern that we would not achieve a quorum, which is 75 for annual town meeting, the Board of Selectmen has been granted the right to lower the quorum. So not suggesting that, I'm just informing you that that exists. So anyway, no, there's a lot of planning to be done. And I think if Doug and Pam and I could cover some ground, I mean, as I said, I even started thinking about, and I discussed it with Pam, and she had some thoughts also. So, you know, again, just to try to think of different possibilities. Don't know what's viable and what isn't. One thing that I suspected, and Pam did confirm for me, is that the meeting does need to be held within the borders of Bolton. Like, we couldn't move it to a larger location outside of town.
Correct.
Great. I'll wait to hear from you, Don, and happy to meet with you and Pam whenever we can, you know, virtually, whatever. But I just want to make sure that we brought that up and we were thinking about it now.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did.
Good. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have minutes?
Yes, we do. I'll share those in just a moment. So we have March 26th, regular session. There were no changes from when I sent them out. And we have March 12th, regular session.
So I move that we accept the minutes of the regular sessions of March 12th and March 26th.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
and Wysocki.
Aye. Okay. Any other business, gentlemen?
Nope.
Okay, then we will then now move on to executive sessions. We have 3 executive